Jaina, Tyra, and Hannah.
So our first stop was the Sun Yat-sen Museum, and it is located in Hong Kong Island. We met at the IFC and walked up there. So there was the museum itself was actually where Sun Yat-sen lived, and it has a total of 4 floors. The bottom floor is where they put the photos. The first floor has a library and a little videotape, while the second floor is closed. And then the third floor is open with more videotapes that talk about what he did during his lifetime. And for the fourth floor, it is some models, some ships that he had been traveling on when he was alive, and also some of his passport and a wax figure of himself, and a room that we can play games on, which is related to the revolution. So for his biography, he was born in 1866, and he had 2 private teachers in total, which his second teacher taught him more about revolution. He studied in 2 best local schools in Hong Kong, which is Central College and Diocesan Home, now called Queen's College and PBS. He graduated in Central College. His first job is in Canton Hospital. And another thing that sparked out his inspiration for the revolution was the Treaty of Tianjin. He got close to Hongmen people, so Hongmen is like a really active group which helped him to succeed in the revolution. And his father died when he was 23 years old. He and 3 other colleagues are called the 4 Desperados. His son was born in the year of 1891. He opened his clinic for poor, which is free, in Macau in 1892, and went to Tianjin to talk to the government, promoting a quote that sums up to be everything has its own value and we should make good use of it. As he turned 30, people started to vote for him as the leader, and the first revolution started in 1895. The same year his first daughter was born. In 1896, he went to England, but the Qing dynasty requested England to put Sun Yat-sen under custody for 2 days. I don't know why, but that was what happened. And the next year, he came up with the three principles of people. And he raised his second revolution in Huizhou, but failed. He entered Hongmen in 1904. So his third revolution is in Wanggang, his fourth in Qiluhu, his fifth in Huanggangshan, his sixth in Zhennanguan. And for these 4 revolutions, it happened in 1907. And for the 6th revolution, he led the battle himself. And the 5th one was really successful because he took over a few forts. In 1908, the 7th revolution failed. It was in Qingzhou, and the 8th one is in Yunnan. And it's also failed. In 1910, he had the 9th, which is in Guangzhou, and his mother died in the same year. Well, in 1911, he had the 10th revolution, which is it took place in the same place, in Guangzhou. And Qing dynasty also employed Yuan Shikai as general in Hugang to defend against revolutionary army. So I don't know why Dr. Sun would promote him to be the president after he retired. In 1912, Dr. Sun became president of Zhonghua Minguo, which he retired immediately and promoted Yuan Shikai, which succeeded. So Yuan Shikai did a lot of stupid stuff and assassinated some of the people, which led to Sun's rebellion. And for his last few years, Sun tries to throw over Yuan and also fix China. And in 1925, he died because of cancer at the age of 60 on March 12th.
Okay, so the second location that we went to was the Tinhao Temple in Xinwan. So originally when I first went to that temple, I thought that Tinhao was the location, the name of the temple. However, I later discovered that Tinhao is actually the goddess in which people go to worship. And she is the goddess of the sea, and so she's like protector over fishermen and sailors. And so if anyone had loved ones at sea, or if they were going to go travel to sea, they would come to worship at the temple. And so the legend behind Tinhao is that she was born in 960 AD in Fujian, China, and she had the special gift of being able to predict storms. And so on one night, her father and her brother were out at sea, and there was a typhoon that struck. And so she fell into a trance and began praying for them, trying to bring them back to shore safely. However, she was awoken by her mother, who then broke her trance, and she lost connection with her brother, who drowned. And so that's how she became famous, because her dad told stories about her, and people began to worship her. And so after she died at the age of 28, it is believed that she went up to heaven and became the goddess. And so at the temple, it had a typical layout of a Tinhao temple. It has one main hall and a courtyard. And in the main hall, you would find a statue of Tinhao, as you can see in the photo over there. And on either side of her, there would be guards, statues of guards. And people would go up to her statue, and they would kneel on the floor and put their hands together and worship her and pray to her, asking Tinhao to bring their family safeness and peace. And in front of that, there would be an offering table where food such as fruits and vegetables can be left behind. And in the courtyard, there would be another offering table. However, this one's for incense and paper offerings that can be bought at the temple. And although we didn't get the opportunity to do so, you can buy chim sticks, which are fortune-telling sticks, and they are put into a tube which you shake, and a stick would fall out, and that stick would have a number, and that number corresponds with your name, with your birth date, would correspond to an oracle reading, which you can have your fortune told. And so on the sheet that we were given, it said to try it, but we did not get the opportunity to do so. And so this sort of relates to what we learned in school, because Tinhao is one of the deities in which Taoists believe in, which is one of the main philosophies we learned at the beginning of the year in traditional China. And so this teaches us how, although Taoism is one of the oldest religions found in traditional China, it is still a prominent religion found today, and was able to overcome the communists taking over, where religion was taken away and Taoism was banned. And so this shows us how, because it was so deeply rooted within its followers, it is still a prominent religion in China.
And then?
Slides are moving.
The end. Fast.
All right. Let's thank group 1 for their presentation.
No.
Oh.
The slides will continue.
Oh.
So the third place we went to was the waterfront in Kowloon. And so the first place we went to was the clock tower. It's also called the Sim-Sai-Shui Clock Tower due to the place that it's at. And it's originally part of the Kowloon Canton Railway that started being built in 1910. And the reason that it wasn't built in 1910 with the Kowloon Railway was that it was due to World War I, so it was built in 1913 through 1915. The second place we did go to was the Cultural Center, and it opened from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And there you were able to see different performances like Chinese opera/dramas, ballets, and music events. And this building was supposed to be built in 1975, but due to money problems and other problems, it opened on November 8th, 1989, almost 12 years after it was supposed to be built. The next place we went to was the Promenade, but we were not able to walk far enough for the souvenirs and services. But this Promenade was known for, I guess, the skyline and the Victoria Harbour. And here's a backdrop of the Victoria Harbour as a requirement. And we were able to talk to a tourist couple who was there from Germany to see the skyline. We were required to do the Olympic torch, but we were not able to go there. But the slogan was "One World, One Dream," and the theme was the journey of harmony. And in 2008, and May 2nd, 119 torch bearers were here in Hong Kong.
Okay, so then what we learned about Hong Kong throughout this whole THRASH experience was, well, we learned history about Sun Yat-sen when we went to the museum. So as we learned in class, we know that Hong Kong was taken over by British rule. And so this gave Sun Yat-sen a lot of Western ideas, which he then introduced to China, which helped overthrow the Qing dynasty. And as Elliot said, he inspired a lot of rebellions. And then he also introduced 3 principles of people, which were nationalism, democracy, and welfare, which are all pretty Western ideas. And then the next thing we learned about was that the public transportation in Hong Kong is really good. It was actually named the best city in the world for commuting. So that basically means we have the best public transportation system in the world. And it's also really easy to use your Optimus card to go everywhere. And also walking was pretty easy as well, because even though it was raining, there's a lot of cover by buildings, so if you stay by buildings, then you could be generally dry. And then when you got to the temple, we learned about land reclamation. So because Tin Hao is the goddess of the sea, the temple used to be near the water, but now because of all the land reclamation, it's not near the water at all. And then finally, when we went to the cultural center, we learned that there was a huge variety of performances there. And we didn't realize that there were so many performances going on in Hong Kong.
For group dynamics, as you can see, is a pie chart, and we have a lot of strengths. We don't have
Thank you for sharing that scientific overview, John. Please continue.
We didn't have a lot of problems or troubles, but some of them were. The good thing was that we never argued with each other, so we were able to, for directions, we didn't argue. If one person had another way to go and another person had another way to go, then we'd choose we'd choose the most sensible way and quickest. We had 3 problems. One of them was, on the way to the Tianhao temple, we accidentally left Jaina behind on the MTR, but she ran and catched up with us. Another problem was Elliot, Jaina, and I nearly got onto the MTR because Hannah was having problems with her octopus card, and Tyra was with her. So Elliot, Jaina, and I got on. We didn't realize they were on, so we quickly got off before we could leave. And another problem was we just blamed one person for one thing, which was Elliot. Because when we were coming back from Sun Yat-sen Museum, we were going past IFC. We realized there was a much quicker way and a way that didn't require a lot of walking. And Hanno's realized that we've done a big loop, which Elliot chose. And then, so we weren't happy with him about that. But most of the trip we had fun and we enjoyed going everywhere. There was one funny thing that happened on the MTR going to Kowloon. There was this Spanish or French lady who was scolding a Chinese man for not giving up her seat, his seat for a helper and a baby. And then I heard her talking to the Chinese man, and then she was pointing at where we were sitting and sort of blaming us too. And I didn't say anything because she was much older and I didn't want to get in trouble. And so if I did say something, I would have just said, if I saw a lady and a little child, I would give up the seat. Plus she was yelling at a man who wasn't in the priority seat at all. So she sort of got confused.
Alright.